some. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Name the artist? Ani DeFranco. Yes, fantastic. Yes. It's not only strengthening for our skills at trivia, but it is also a good practice to know the names behind the artists of the songs that we enjoy, that we love, that we listen to. It's a practice of getting to know the people behind the joy and the learning and the deepening that we have. So it's not just important to find the songs fulfilling, but it's also important to connect our lives with those lives. It's important to know the names. It's important to know the culture. It's important to know that Ani DeFranco is the start of our spiritual journey together, all right? And so that's the work we're doing right there. And I invite you into the song now. We're going to sing together. Come sing a song with me, a song by Carolyn McDade, as a matter of fact. 346 is the hymn. It's easy to learn if you don't know it, and if you do, I'll ask you to help me teach it. Will you rise? Come sing a song with me that I might know your mind. Away we go. Come sing a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know.
And I'll bring you hope.
And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find.
And I'll bring a song of love.
And I'll bring a song of love in the rose in the wind.
Come dream a dream with me.
Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I might know you. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the wind.
Come walk in rain with me.
Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I might know you. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the...
Come share a rose with me.
Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
Thank you. Thank you. As the world around us tends to scramble, to panic over where we've wound up and where we've yet to arrive, we are choosing this moment to calm down, to unify, to organize around the call of love. We are giving our isolation a break and resting for a while in the warmth of common purpose. We are putting down our hidden weapons. We are picking up the courage to tell the truth to each other and look each other in the eye and love an infectious, unexempting love. We are getting serious about joy and about laughter, about singing, and about kindness and unity, because within them lies more power to change the world for good than division could ever hold. We mean to mean something to this day, which has come to mean life to us. Welcome to church. Welcome to First Universalist Church of Minneapolis. Dear ones, if you have come expecting perfection, I duly encourage you to change your mind. But if you have come to find a place with a people who want to build a community where no one is too young, too old, too queer, too hetero, too black, too brown to matter, too white to get woke, too wealthy, too poor, too disabled to lead our common journey, too ineloquent to have a voice, too timid to make a difference that shakes the status quo, then you have found just the place. Love is alive here and growing in our hearts and in our hands. And our love is excited to make room for every single one of us here and beyond. Come, let us celebrate. Let us choose the truth and joy. Let us comfort and keep each other for a while. And may the power of what we realize in this hour come to heal us and move with us into the wider world. Put all of our pettiness to sleep and awaken in us the fullness of our compassion instead. Friends, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever brings you to this moment, we celebrate your presence here. In the sanctuary, beyond in your homes, wherever you're tuning in from, whenever you're tuning in from, your presence is a blessing and matters to the thing we call we. Particularly if you are one of our Islamic kindred who begin the season of Ramadan, the season of peacemaking, the season of fasting, the season of reflection, we wish you a blessed Ramadan, Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you for joining us in this moment. We hope that our hearts can join you in solidarity and deepen together. I want to let you know that among our leaders in worship this morning is Reverend Ashley, who is not checking her email. As much as email might tempt us to do, she is not checking our email. In fact, she is helping us put one of our commitments to practice. No matter where you are tuning in from, whether it's in this room or whether it's from your home or somewhere else, we are committed to connecting together, to making this community one. And so for those of us who are joining us online, their portal into the sanctuary is through that computer right there, the miracle of 2023 technology. Amen? I invite you now into a few moments as we begin our worship service by breathing together. 3 breaths together to bring ourselves more in tune with the rhythm of the world and to notice that we are breathing and we are alive, and what a blessing that is. Let's breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And as we endeavor to get ever closer to one another in this spirit of community, we light the symbol of Unitarian Universalism all around the world and across time. And Charlie will help lead us by lighting the chalice, and you will help lead us by speaking the words together with me that we use as a covenant for our community. Together, let us say, love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great cup that'll work. to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you.
It's so good to be here, I have to say. I came in this morning at a little after 8, and our elementary school families were in the building spending the night. And so I ran into a bundle of energy this morning, folks eating breakfast together. And maybe I should say the bundle of energy was the kids, less so the adults that had been overnight. But it was so great to see them in the social hall downstairs. So fun. So, like I said, it's good to be here together, wherever we are coming in from. And I wanted to bring our attention to the practice of paying attention this morning. So I'll tell you that when I moved to Minnesota about 12 years ago, or 11 years ago, actually, I don't want to jump too fast, 11 years ago, one of the things that's changed for me was that I started having spiritual direction sessions with a minister who was kind of older and wiser than me, and we met over the phone once a month, and we still do. It's been 11 years of this together. And on our very first phone conversation, she said to me, "What do you want to get out of this? Why are we doing this? Why are you here on the phone with me?" And I said, "I want help noticing. I need to slow down. There is so much happening in my life, so much going quickly and changing. I want to pay attention. I know this is big," right? I was 38 years old. I had just left the congregation that I had loved in New York to come move here and be with all of you and be in a new community. My mom had just died. We were selling our childhood home. I had 2 little kids. It was moving really fast. So I said, "Please help me slow down just for this 1 hour a month and pay attention to what is happening in my life." And she said, "Great, we can totally do that, because the truth is that paying attention is the foundation of connecting with the divine. It's the foundation of connecting to all that is. That paying attention is, in fact, the foundation of prayer in many, many traditions. Slowing down, to pause, to pay attention. We hear this, environmentalists say this, naturalists, poets, pause, slow down, pay attention. So that's what we're doing today. That's what we're going to do right now. That's what we're going to do throughout the service together today. We're going to pause and pay attention. And we're going to do it together because the truth is it's really hard to do alone. Sometimes we can notice big changes or things that are moving, like maybe there's one day you get dressed and you realize, "Oh my gosh, my pants are way too short," because you've grown and you notice that, right? But more often than not, someone around you says, "Hey, your hair looks really different," or "Wow, it seems like you're more at ease," or maybe you just, somebody says something and it helps you see yourself, some way of reflecting collectively, communally, right? So that's part of why it's so important to do together, not just all alone by ourselves. And it's some of what we do together in church, by coming together. So I wonder if we might notice together a little bit what is different here at church. I'm talking last, 3 to 5 years. What's different? Anything? Well, I'm going to start. Something's different right here. Oh, going down the ramp. So we have an accessible chancel, so anybody can come and lead worship with us. Yes! So that we can be welcoming to everybody in our congregation. We have cameras and we have screens, which aren't really screens, they're just projectors, so that we can include people who aren't right here in the sanctuary with us. I think we're going to look at a couple of pictures to help us imagine and remember. So you are seeing, if you are looking at these, a photo from about 4 years ago, I want to say, maybe 5. And in this picture, it's the sanctuary before the renovation. So you can see there's yellow carpet instead of blue. The pews are up there. There's no accessible ramp. You might notice Lauren Wyeth, Reverend Elaine, Reverend Karen, Reverend Justin, myself, and then Reverend Ruth McKenzie down on the floor on the right. So that's what worship looked like in here a few years ago. Let's see another one. Social hall. This is the social hall before the renovation, before COVID. So this is a daytime connections gathering, folks sitting in a circle there around the social hall. And it must be December-ish because we've got a Christmas tree and the old stage that used to be down there. Take a look when you go down, if you're here, and see what's different. Let's see another one. Okay. This is our first online Sunday service in March of 2020. So you'll see there Jeff Sylvester and Jen Stromberg, who's in the back, and my daughter Kate, who's now a teenager, there on the right. And that's me trying to figure out how do we do this thing together. Same shirt, just. So some things are different, some are the same. Let's see another one. Right? This is us at Minnehaha Falls outside. During COVID, when we were trying to find anywhere we could where we could meet in person that felt safer and we could connect. So we've got Amy K. Bryant singing, we've got Lauren and Emma and Arif and Franco up there leading worship. And we traveled all over during COVID to try and find places we could gather, right? How about another one? This is saying goodbye to Reverend Ruth as she headed off into retirement outside under that tent. Let's have another one. Here's the sanctuary mid-renovation. So you can see that they have been building the accessible ramp, rebuilding the chancel, aligning the pews, putting in the carpet, all kinds of things. New paint, new lighting, new sound, all kinds of stuff. So that's it for the photos. But I'm wondering, what else is different at church? What have you noticed? Seat cushions. Hallelujah. Pew cushions. What else has changed over the last few years for those who've been coming? The bathrooms. Bathrooms that work, are kind of beautiful and are welcoming to folks of all gender expressions. Yes. What else? What else is different?
No choir.
No choir. That's right. That's really different. Children in the service. That's right. Kids are in the service for the first half every Sunday now. Sometimes the whole time, which is awesome. Singing? That's right. Glenn Thomas is leading us in singing, and we are learning, right? We are learning. Yeah. Yeah. You all are different, I have to say. I know I'm different. Folks who are leading worship are different. Folks who are showing up in church or online, and when and how is really, really different. Yeah. Anything else?
Fewer people here.
Fewer people here in person. Fewer people total attending worship. It's true. Things are shifting. How about for you personally? What's different? What's changed? I have teenagers now. I didn't 3 years ago. What else is different? What's that? Working from home. That's right. Yeah. Quiet? Quiet. Yeah. Masks. That's right. So much is different. So much is different. Empty nest. That's right. The last service we had somebody who said, not only did I have one kid, I had two during this 3 years, right? And then we have other folks where the kids are leaving or heading out. An adult son living with you. Things are shifting. It matters to stop and pay attention. It matters, especially with all that has been changing over the last 3 years in particular. It matters so much to pause and name it and notice. That spiritual director of mine, we not only notice what is happening, but in particular, she directs my attention to what is moving. One of the phrases you can count on her to say is, God is in the change. God is in the movement. The Spirit, the holy, the sacred shows up in the movement. Let's look for the movement together. Now, this is not new thinking, it's ancient, actually. And we've heard it in worship through the words of Octavia Butler, the Black theologian and writer. God is change. The holy is in the movement, in the sacred. So we're going to pay attention today, and I invite you to do this all week long, not to rush past it, to name for yourself, to name in your family, to look around or to notice what is changing, what is different, to name it, and then to just stay with it. Don't rush past just yet, because paying attention is a form of prayer.
A friend of mine, Sarah Dan, wrote a song for us. Whenever we're looking to deepen our attention, we can start with our breath, just like we started this service. And so the song helps us to call our attention to the fact that we're breathing. Breathe in, the song says, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, there are many ways to engage this song. All of them lead us to the memory that we are alive. And that's a good thing for us. So, when I start this first part, I'll invite you to sing with me. If you feel real good in that place, stay right there. If you want to go on, you can take that other option. If you get to that other option and you feel like, no, I want to go back. That's all right. Let there be no anxiety in the room. We're just remembering that we breathe in and that we breathe out. And that when we breathe in peace. And when we breathe out love. All right? So the first part goes like this.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Try it with me. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, yeah. Breathe. Listen, when I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Again, when I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. One more time. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Listen. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Somebody try that one. When I breathe in peace. When
let's go back to the first one, everybody.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe.
Stay there if you want. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Stay there if you want. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Two more. When I breathe in peace. Here we go. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out. And it's available for you to notice anytime you are breathing. Now, we move into a time of deepening our spiritual growth and development amongst one another. Some of us are doing that in different places in this building. Some of us are doing that in different buildings entirely, our homes. Some of us are doing that spiritual deepening right here. No matter where you are, may your time of spiritual deepening be blessed. May you grow, and may we grow each other with what we have to learn and what we have to teach. K through 5, kindergartners through 5th graders are headed out, and 6th grade and up are staying right in here in the building. 6th grade all the way up is staying right here in this room. K through 5, see ya. See you soon.
In the spirit of noticing changes, normally we'd go right into prayer right now, but instead we're mixing it up. So notice that change together. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. It is here for me that I am reminded of the practices, the rhythms that help hold me to my center, help hold me connected, each to the other, to my own deepest self, to the wider web and world of which we are all a part. Sure, maybe I could do this alone, but I haven't had much luck. I do way better in community, coming together with all of you and others to help hold me in this rhythm and practice. So it is so good to be with you all. I'm back after 6 weeks away, and it is so good to be right here, to breathe and breathe and breathe some more with all of you, wherever we are. Now, I took some time away for a reason. And if I'm honest, it was about mid-January when I realized that something wasn't quite right for me. Now, I had made adjustments throughout the fall and the winter to try and create some more space and care for myself as I cared for those around me during all kinds of ups and downs through conflict and change here at church. And the changes I had made, the supports I'd put in for myself had helped, but they weren't doing the trick. I couldn't get settled and stay settled. And in fact, I was noticing I was feeling more and more tightness in my body and in my spirit all the time. My body was saying so clearly to me, you have got to stop. You got to find a way to loosen up. You can't keep going in this way. It's not healthy. Slow down, find a way. There was a song that we had sung to each other throughout the pandemic times, and I knew that it was something that helped me when I got in modes like this, but I couldn't remember it. It was loosen, loosen, and sometimes I could remember the words, but I couldn't remember the music to save my life, and I couldn't sing it. I knew it was out there somewhere. So I realized something wasn't quite right for me, and I had that realization here, actually, in the sanctuary on Remembrance Sunday. Remembrance Sunday is our annual day when we come together and remember loved ones that we've lost and kind of mark the changes in the year. And I had led the call to worship and the welcome, and then I had gone and sat down in the pews right there. And as we started to name the loved ones that we'd lost together, I started to cry, and I couldn't stop crying. Now, there's nothing wrong with crying. In fact, crying is super healthy. And for me to find myself here in a place where I am called to serve, I was finding it really hard to wrap up that tender part of myself and turn my attention to the care of you all in this community. I knew that there was something not quite right for me. I knew something needed to be a bit different. I started talking with staff and board members here and leaders who were inside the church and also with my folks outside of the church. I started talking with my spiritual director, my therapist, my recovery community, my family and friends, letting them reflect back to me what they were noticing. And I went to them and I was like, I think I need to take maybe an extra 2 days off. I don't know, maybe I just have to reset a little bit. And they were like, no, you need to reset. And so when they came up with this idea of I should take 6 weeks away from this part of my life, at first I'll tell you, it felt impossible and irresponsible and way too long. But as we started to plan for it, I noticed my body starting to loosen a little bit. I noticed my shoulders move from way up here to coming down a little bit. And I knew that I needed this space. Now, I know that this kind of time away from paid work and from caregiving for folks that we love isn't available to us all. In fact, it isn't available to most of us. And taking any time to stop, to pause, to pay attention can help and is so important. And I am incredibly grateful to be a part of this community where we go beyond words and into action so much of the time, creating countercultural environments where we can get more of what we need, when we can name what we need and offer it up to each other. I know that it was a real gift for me to get this time, and I am so grateful, like I said. And I learned that it's not just about rest in the, I don't want to say easy sense, but rest more as a tool for liberation. In particular, some of you have heard me talk and have read yourself the work of Tricia Hersey, a Black theologian and author who talks about rest as resistance, rest as a critical part of not just surviving, but moving into liberation. For folks who come from a legacy of exhaustion, she says, it is particularly important to claim, to make room for that space, not just to survive, but to move into really living. This space to notice is part of what can bring liberation about, too. Because I don't know how it is for all of you, but I know for me that when I am exhausted, I just do whatever the next rote thing is in front of me. I don't stop and look at it and say, hey, this system is broken. Hey, the expectations here are terrible. Hey, this isn't the way that I want to live or what I want all of us to be experiencing together. It takes that ability to, as some of my past mentors would say, move up to the balcony, to get that distance, to be able to see what's happening and to make an active choice. So this time to pay attention is essential for all of us as we are trying to live more spiritual lives, lives in alignment with what we really value. So this time was really important. It was time I figured out to resist some of the lessons that I'd been brought up with in my family and in my culture. These lessons have taught me for years that you just keep going no matter what is happening. You keep moving, you don't let people see you cry, you don't have emotions in public, you portray a calm and cool exterior no matter what is happening. Now, there are messages we get from the broader culture that say bigger, better, faster, assembly line type living. But that's not how I want to live my life. It's not how I want us to live our lives. I was taught over and over that, especially as a leader, you don't show any sign that could be perceived as weakness. You don't show emotion. This is not healthy. This does not make us whole. So some of these messages I had received and I was examining came from our broader American culture, but some came from my own particular culture too. I am part of the first generation in my dad's family to be born in America. His family and he come from England, and the British side of our family, of that culture and expectations, run deep in me. Emotion, we're not sure we have that. And if we do, we're not going to talk about it or show it in any way. Tears are for death only and for one moment. I learned quickly as a kid that an expression of mild displeasure from my grandmother was the equivalent of screaming rage from the other side of my family. This is how I was brought up, and this was what I needed to examine and start to unlock in myself. This family of mine was very buttoned up, very buttoned up. No matter if you have survived the bombing of London or years as a prisoner of war or harassment at school, you do not talk about it. So here I was in January at work, crying and not able to stop. I knew this had to shift, and I was so grateful for what you all have taught me here over and over, what we teach each other, that it's never about, I've got this. I have to figure this out myself. I am alone in this. It's about, we've got this. We will figure this out together. We will help each other live in a new way together. So this time away, it gave me some big gifts. And one of the things that I realized, again, thanks to the reflection of a friend, was that for these last 3 years, since COVID began in earnest for all of us here, for these last 3 years, I have been living in crisis mode, total crisis mode, from one emergency to the next, without pausing to stop to realize all that has happened, without being able to settle and resettle and resettle. Now, some of the crises we have all experienced together, even though our experiences are very different. COVID, everything that came with that for us, not being able to be physically present to one another. For some of us, it was school online in a moment, our work online in a moment, church online in a moment. All the social supports that we had experienced throughout our life dropped. All kinds of things happened. There was George Floyd's murder and the racial justice uprisings that followed. There's living in this time of human-made climate change and the constancy of the emergencies that are happening as a result of that. So much has been happening. And then there are the things that we experienced as individuals, what our particular lives looked like over these last 3 years. For me, it was parenting 2 kids, doing online school while working at home with a partner who was working in healthcare the whole time. Maybe some of you know that journey. There was also for me, in the midst of it all, this improbable cascade of illness in the people that I love. First my father, then my brother, then my mentors, each diagnosed with assumedly terminal aggressive cancers, them on different sides of the country, and me flying back and forth or driving back and forth, trying to care for them all, caring for you, caring for my family, caring for myself. I know you have been in these positions too. With all of that happening, we come back to church in person, but always multi-platform now, which is a gift. We come back to being together in faith communities where what church is has fundamentally changed, whether we wanted it to or not, over these 3 years. We land in this moment where things are radically different, where for faith communities all over the country and all over the world, folks are choosing whether or not to come anymore. The habit has been broken for many folks, and they're actively choosing, yes, I want to be a part, or no, I don't. Clergy of all different faith traditions are quitting left and right, and congregations are closing, many of them. Folks are not arriving in the same way they did. And here we are. Here we are trying to make sense of what this moment is together, with changes we wanted, some of them, and many we did not. Here we are, in crisis mode. At least I have been. And thank goodness for this friend who reflected back to me over my time away, who said, you know, this isn't a crisis anymore. This is your actual life. This isn't a crisis. This is your life. This, whatever it is for you, for us, it isn't a crisis. Though moments we go in and out. But this is our life, whatever it is. Those things that we share in common, those things that are different. And I have to say, even with all the challenge of the last few years and all of the true grief that has come with it, when my friend said this to me, this is your life, I felt incredibly grateful too. To be alive, to be here, to be present, to be able to show up in the ways that I can, to breathe in and out, to be. I feel so lucky. This pausing to notice, it's something that folks who live spiritual lives have been doing forever. This pausing to notice, not just falling into the patterns that our culture has put out there for us, our broader culture, our individual family cultures. Pausing to take time. For me, this idea that time is a good and healthy and important part of the spiritual journey, of resting in what actually is, even and especially if I don't like it, is so important. Time takes time, I've been told. That spiritual director of mine is famous to me for saying, you can't possibly make sense of something while you're right in the middle of it. You can maybe live with kindness and integrity to the best of your ability in that crisis or that big change moment, but making sense out of it, that's like 2 years out, she would say. And I would get so frustrated. Like 6 weeks? Can we do 6 weeks? No. 2 years, she'd say. So this moving from crisis mode into living mode is what I've been shifting over the last few weeks. Something I'm going to keep trying, and I'm inviting you to try with me too. I had time and space to connect with some dear friends during this time away, and it comes to be true that several of my friends have lost partners during this pandemic times. They've become widows at my age or just a little bit older. And as I've listened to them talk through what this loss has been like, they've said very clearly that it's a 3-year movement for them. Year 1 of losing someone they loved was surviving, just surviving. Year 2, existing. Just how do I even exist like this? Year 3, living. How do I live now? This isn't the life I wanted. This isn't the life I expected. I don't want to be without this person, but here I am. Here I am. What am I going to do? But 3 years, moving slow, letting time take time, letting our bodies and spirits adjust, attend, and then move. So here we are together today. Here we are, each in our own way, having lived through emergency after emergency, crisis after crisis, whatever they look like for you. And what I am hoping for us today, this week, not moving too fast out of it, is to pay attention. What is different? What has changed? What is lost? What are we working towards saying goodbye to? Church is one of these places we name these things. My colleague, the Reverend Kathleen McTeague, wrote that we come to church to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we can claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces, to witness each other and experience their communion. That is what we are about. So today we're going to trust that time takes time, that it matters to pay attention, to go slow. I have one more image for you. This is coming kind of as a game of telephone, so apologies that it may not look exactly like the real original story, but I tell you it's good. This comes from the Jungian analyst Sylvia Pereira, and it's just an image about wisdom gathering. So the way that I was told this story is that for folks who were seeking insight and wisdom, the journey that was put ahead for them was a journey down into the bottom of a mountain. So starting at the top and then walking slowly, circularly down to the bottom. Once they arrived at the bottom, they would receive there the insight or the wisdom that they needed. And what was learned pretty fast, actually, was that as folks made that descent down and they received the insight or the wisdom, what they wanted to do first after receiving it was to run back up and out of the mountain and proclaim it and share it with everyone. And that what happened then was that it dissipated out into the air, gone. So what they did was there would still be that long, slow down to receive the insight and the wisdom, but then they started putting way stations on the way up, so that as you came up with your insight and your wisdom, you'd be forced lovingly to stop and rest for a while. And then when you were done at that way station of rest, you would go up a little further, where you would be held in love and care again and rest some more. So that by the time you reached back out into the world, that wisdom and knowledge had settled deep within. It was unshakable now. And you could share from that place of renewal and wholeness. So we're going down. We're taking our time coming back up. That song that I was trying to remember back at the beginning, Loosen, Loosen, it's a way to let our bodies and spirits settle so that we can notice together. Loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. As we let our muscles and bones loosen, we remember the changes that were named earlier by our kids in the service, by each of us. We bring to mind what we have lost, all that has changed, the things we might need to notice and begin to let go of individually, collectively, as a congregation. If you're here with us in the sanctuary, you received a piece of paper and a writing implement when you came in. If you're with us online, I invite you to find that, or you can use the chat if you'd like as well. This is dissolving paper you've got. It dissolves in water. And what I'm going to invite you to do, if you don't have any, please let us know if you're in person and we'll get some to you. What I want to invite you to do is to, with words or a symbol in any way that you choose, whether it's here on this paper or in your own way at home or in the chat, to write or draw something that you are letting go of, something that's changed, something you're noticing. And then as we sing together, if you'd like, you can come put that up here. You're welcome to keep it as well. We're going to hold these words and images for a full week, and then next week when we come together, for those that are here, we'll dissolve them. If you are at home and you want your words or symbol to be included up here, type them into the chat. We'll write them down on the paper and bring them in. Okay? Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to carry the weight of the world in your our muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Letting go together. We pause here with all we let go of, with all that we name and notice. And we notice and name together the turnings in the cycle of life that continue for us all. We join with Robin Mackenzie Taurus. We send prayers for the loss of her beloved mother-in-law, Rita. She died this week at age 98. Robin will miss Rita's affirmation to her that she belonged and was lovable, even in periods of deep depression. Our hearts reach out to all those who are living with loss, with aftermath of the tornadoes yesterday in the South, of flooding and mudslides in California, of climate emergencies everywhere. And we celebrate the passage of the Trans Refuge Bill here in Minnesota. Recognizing that all are valuable, worthy, wanted, welcome, and deserving of care. Together we pray with all that we are holding, all that we are naming in our hearts and in the chat. Together we pray that the grip of addiction might be loosened, that the weight of oppression might be lightened, that grief might be shared, that joy might break through, and that love might make every suffering bearable for us all. Holy name, help me ease this pain. Holy breath and holy name, help me ease this pain. Amen. Spirit of life,
Good morning. This is Lulu, which is my daughter. We were having a little bit of a hard time with separation, so we just came here. She's just joining us too. Want to wave? Overwhelm. Now is our time where we practice the cycle of life of giving and receiving. It is the time first when we get to hear each other's stories during this annual giving season. And I'd like to invite Shelley up here, Shelley Desilets, to share some of her story.
Good morning. I don't get to see this very often, so I'm just going to do this for a second. My name is Shelley Desolé. My pronouns are any that are offered in respect. A recent discovery. First Universalist has been many things to me since I started attending some 15 years ago. My partner had been a member for years before we met. She had brought her kids to start at RE here, and she was now sharing the church with me. The first impression was that it was a place that welcomed me, me specifically, because they said they welcomed those of different sexual orientations and those in the recovery community. I was named and seen, and I really felt the welcome. I was blown away by that. I joined the choir and found a way to make a contribution that way. And as I took in more and more sermons and lessons and readings and connections, it became clear that this was a place where I could wander through the spiritual state of my soul, and I learned to do so with curiosity and not judgment. I decided to become a member, and as I and my fellow new members stood up here and the congregation was asked to welcome us, I felt overwhelming love with their resounding, "We do." I joined my first small group, and there I learned to settle myself and to listen deeply. This would be a lesson that would take some time. Out of that first group was born an intergenerational friend connection that continues to this day, some 14 years later, meeting monthly for lunch to talk over our lives and how it is with our souls. I said yes when I was asked to lead a small group of my own, and it would be the first of many. So many wonderful connections were made in those groups, and I treasure that time of being able to create a space for others. Eventually, the work of the church and of the greater community made it possible for my partner and I to be married legally. And we were over the moon to be able to hold our wedding and celebration right here. A friend who attended mentioned to me that she'd spoken with some others while she was at that wedding. And she thought how it was so amazing to see a church that was open and welcoming and focused on an individual spiritual journey rather than any specific dogma. This was a wedding, not the first step class, people. Y'all make me so proud. This sanctuary and this community were also the ones that held us as we cried and shared stories and grieved the death of our son, who was raised in this church. The unimaginable had happened, and it was here where we could come and take our first steps back into public among you, and to be held in love as we walked this unbidden path just 6 months before the whole world stopped for us all to try to be safe from COVID. There are so many more things I could talk about, so many, and I know I'm looking out at several people out there who know lots of other parts of our story. And First Universalist has been all these and more things to me. It has been a container for my great joy and my deepest sorrow. It has been a home of music, learning, friendship, and love. But absolutely none of that is why I give to First Universalist, why I make a sustaining pledge. The reason I give is because I have hope for how this church community will work on those who gather within and those in the greater community in the years to come. It's also why I took the time to participate in the visioning work, to explore and know my own heart on the topic of how that future church will show up, and to learn from others how they see it. The visioning work is my promise to my future church community, and my pledge is my hope made tangible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shelley. We have the opportunity now not only to ponder our annual commitments, but to give to our partner organization, Augsburg Fairview Academy, that has been a longtime partner of this community, offering a safe place for teens and families, offering positive, strength-based approach to their development and their growth. So I invite you now to give generously and boldly.
It's been a long, dark night, and I've been waiting for the morning. It's been a long, hard fight, but I see a brand new day dawning. I've been looking for the sunshine, 'cause I ain't seen it for so long. Everything's gonna work out fine. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. 'Cause I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna work out fine. It's gonna be okay. It's been a long, long time since I've known the taste of freedom. And those clinging vines that had me bound, I don't need them. I don't need them. I've been like a captured eagle. You know, an eagle's born to fly. That I won my freedom like an eagle, I'm eager for the sky, and I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see the light of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Everything's gonna work out fine. Everything's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. I can see of a brand new day. I can see the light of a clear blue morning. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna work out fine. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna work out fine. It's gonna be okay.
Today, tomorrow, this week, always, let's take time to notice, to see where the movement is, to find our way again to the places of life. May it be so. Amen.
Let's sing one more time together. Would you rise? Let's sing, Where You Go, I Will Go. Here we go.
Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, and your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are mine. You're divine, mighty. One more time. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine.
Go in peace, my friends. Amen.